In a Violent Nature is a new horror film that was getting a lot of attention on the festival circuit. It just got released wide, as they like to say in the industry, a wide release. It just got a wide release this past weekend, and we were lucky enough that a couple of our local theaters actually were showing this movie. It's a little bit of an independent, it's an IFC Films slash Shudder release, so it's probably going to be streaming on Shudder real soon, but I still really wanted to experience this movie in the theater because of the buzz it was getting in, the Friday the 13th vibe that it was giving off just from the promo video and trailer gimmick that I saw. I didn't even watch the whole trailer. I watched part of the beginning of the trailer. Yeah, I was very impressed, and boy, it really did hit the Friday the 13th mark right on the head. I'm going to get to that here in a little bit. Let's talk a bit about the film. It's written and directed by Chris Nash, who seems to come from the special effects world of movie making. He did the special effects on Psycho Gorman, but he also directed some shorts for the ABCs of Death films, both 1 and 2. First of all, let me just say it's a beautiful film shot in the nature in the woods of northeastern Ontario, Canada. Apparently it was a bit of a trouble to film. They had to quit shooting and then start again at one point. Nature was not on their side at various points of the film. But yeah, the movie follows a killer protagonist named Johnny, who right out of the gate, the opening scene, I got vibes of Friday the 13th, and constantly throughout the movie you get Friday the 13th vibes. Even the J name, the Johnny and the Jason of it all, is feels very Friday the 13th. I'm gonna try not to spoil too much here. This is technically a no spoiler review, but I might accidentally spoil a couple of things, small things though. We follow our killer protagonists as they walk in third person. It's shot in third person, no POV shots, no first person shots, which is a mainstay of slasher films. I think this is subverted on purpose to give you a third person view throughout the film. In many ways, this is a traditional, almost paint by numbers slasher movie, but inversed, because we follow the slasher through the whole film. So we just get to see his side of things. It reminds me in that way of Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon a bit, but not as goofy. There are some funny moments in A Violent Nature, especially if you have a dark sense of humor. There's some very inventive kills. There's one kill in the movie that's one of the most intense things I've ever seen gore-wise ever in a horror movie. It approaches almost over the top status with that kill, but still, I fucking loved it. It's awesome. It's just brutal. Just brutal. It never seems ridiculous to me. Just brutal. But yeah, we just continue following Johnny as he goes through these beautiful nature shots. It's shot in a 4:3 aspect ratio, definitely trying to mimic a VHS, like you're watching a VHS copy of a film. It feels like this is a sequel in the middle of a series of movies. Like we're watching Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. There's actually, for me, there's some parallels with Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. Quite a few. But yeah, let's talk about it. It's definitely a Friday the 13th sequel without being a Friday the 13th sequel. It's using the archetype, but not the copyright. With the Jason Universe announcement and them seemingly only going after video game and television properties, it might be some time before we see Jason on the big screen again. I almost wonder if this was written as a sort of Friday the 13th spec script at some point. Fun fact, one of the actors is actually in Friday the 13th Part 2. The mask is pretty cool and creepy, but I think I liked him better without it. When you get to see all the injuries and like the rotting flesh on the back of his head as you're following him, I think I liked that better. But I understand why they wanted to use a mask, especially because of the Friday the 13th parallel that they're going for. And the mask fits into the story nicely and is creepy, kind of looks like a minion. Emily kept saying he looked like a minion. And the ending was a really nice way to wrap it up. Switching the perspective a bit without spoiling too much. And commenting on our relationship or lack thereof with nature and how it sort of can grab you and let you go. I want you to see this movie in the theater if you get a chance. That's the way we saw it. I think it's worth seeing in the theater. There was only like 4 other people in the whole theater with us. We saw it on a Monday. Another thing I want to point out is that there is no actual music soundtrack in the movie. The only music in the movie comes from the victims, the kids that are being killed. Like if there's music being played in a car or while they're at the party or maybe through a character's headphones. Nature is the soundtrack. The sounds of nature are the soundtrack of this movie for the most part. And I think that adds a more serious quality to the violence, a more real quality to the situations. I like this movie a lot. I think it's a new slasher classic. I think I could say I would consider it a new slasher classic. If you like Friday the 13th movies, go see this. It's basically a Friday the 13th sequel without being one officially. Let me know what you thought if you've seen it in the comments. Let me know what you think. But I really enjoyed In a Violent Nature. I would give it 5 out of 5 kitchen knives. All right, y'all, thank you very much. I'm going to do some more movie review type shits on here. All right, I love y'all. Whoop, whoop. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe gimmick. Thank you again for 5,800 subscribes. We're trying to get to 6,000. Make sure you hit the subscribe gimmick. Humble Among Broadcast System 138 coming soon. I love you. Whoop, whoop. Have a good night.